I would like to start and open this Dvar Torah by congratulating the person elected to become a leader of this country. And of course I refer to Karen Newman, the newly elected chair of Liberal Judaism, who was unanimously elected this week, having been acting chair for a number of months before. The LGS must be proud that it is the place for such skillful and visionary leaders who choose to come here. I remember having an internal dilemma about my name when it became clear that I was staying in the UK as a rabbi. Should I change it to something more natural and more British? At some point, I contemplated taking the name Jonathan Becker. Jonathan because of my Hebrew name, and Becker, because this is the surname of my the earliest Ukrainian ancestor I know of. And as you know, I decided against it and chose to remain who I am and not to take a different name. I also remember saying to myself at some point, when it was clear that I will become a rabbi here at this synagogue, I am Russian-born. Why am I here? A rabbi at West End Synagogue of a historical caliber and significance. What can I do here? Why me, a person with an accent and a foreign name? It took me some time to realize that having a rabbi with an accent means that congregants whose English is not their first language feel welcome here too. What I see happening nowadays upsets me because many Jewish people feel uncomfortable of being themselves, fully being themselves, feeling uncomfortable telling others that they're Jewish. Some out of fear, others out of shame, but all because of the change that we have been experiencing since October. In the last months, I have had several conversations with members of the synagogue about them feeling in the Jewish closet, suppressing their own identity. At the same time, according to the Jewish news article from November 2023, a record number of Magen David, Stars of David, was sold in the UK. This means that while some Jewish people are scared to be openly Jewish, others have deliberately chosen to use their Jewish identity as a symbol of resistance or perhaps a source of support, although most still wear it inside, not showing it to others. So this week's Torah portion expresses, I think, a similar type of uncertainty and internal tension about public expression of your personal belonging. I'm talking about the ritual of Para Aduma, red heifer, red cow. Ritual itself seems idolatrous and very unattractive to a modern reader. But what lies behind it, I think, is a powerful and meaningful concept, an idea. According to the Torah and later accounts in Talmud, the priests, the Kohanim in the temple, were supposed to search for a perfect red cow that had never worn a yoke or been used for work. Upon finding such a cow, the priest had to slaughter it outside the sanctuary perform certain rituals and completely burn it. Its ashes then were collected and used for rituals, for very rare and very specific rituals, mainly to purify those touch the dead body, to allow them to re-enter Jewish sacred spaces. Some sources say that in 15 centuries, from the time of Moses until the destruction of the Second Temple in the 1st century of the Common Era, only 9 such cows were found and used for this ceremony. 9 in 1500 years. The natural question comes to mind when you read about such a ritual: how did the purification ceremony using the ashes of the red cow work? Did it work at all? It seems more like a magical spell than a religious practice. Whatever way you see this ritual, it serves the purpose of purification. The idea of this ritual is purification, ultimately allowing a person to return to the community, to the space that's meaningful to them. So some Torah scholars claim that you shouldn't even try looking for meaning, for a reason why this ritual works. Because it's written in the Torah, you should do it. However, many more didn't agree with this approach. For example, Sforno or Rabbi Hirsch interpret this ritual as highly symbolic, deconstructing this ritual into individual parts and claiming that this is about transformation. When a person feels that they've done something wrong, they cannot re-enter the space, and therefore, by doing it step by step in a ritualistic way, it helps them to feel better. Biblical scholar Jacob Milgrom points out that acts of immorality, or when something bad happens, or when a person does something bad, it affects more than just those involved. The consequences of wrongdoing infect and pollute the entire community, or at least this is the view of ancient rabbis. The person and the community corrupted by wrongdoing are restored to a state of purity and can then go on without the burden of guilt. And this is why this ritual had to be public, had to be really difficult to organize. If the wrongdoing was very significant, asking forgiveness through sacrifices and prayers, even repairing the wrong through apology and restitution, is not enough to purify what's spoiled by wrongdoing. Therefore, creating an extremely complicated ritual was an act of compassion that would give everybody, even the people who committed the most serious sins, a second chance. Essentially, according to Milgrom, this ritual allows everybody a re-entry into sanctuary of people. At the core of this ritual is the belief that people want and need to be part of a collective, a part of the chain of tradition at something bigger than themselves. Denying that part or thinking that it's too late to re-enter hurts both the person and the community. Imagine being somebody who thinks it's too late to do something. It involves a mix of very complex and heavy feelings. Perhaps this peculiar and almost impossible ritual is necessary to allow this person to feel genuinely accepted again. It seems to me that people who are scared of showing their Jewishness in public are in a similar position. There is a fear of being misunderstood or guilt of abandoning your people and denying part of yourself. what can help and encourage such person to re-enter the public space with pride? What can help to be publicly Jewish again? And I think that Haskalah, the Jewish Enlightenment, might have the answer to this question. Today, Haskalah is like a red cow, a rare reference in Jewish thought. But nevertheless, it can be useful and powerful resource and answer our challenges. I don't think that Maskilim, enlightened Jewish people, or early liberal Jews have ever liked the idea of being visibly Jewish in the world. There is the formula that many people would cite you: a Jew at home and a human being on the street. This formula, I think, always inspired progressive Jews. This formula is attributed to an 18th century German Jewish philosopher, Moses Mendelssohn. He is considered one of the founding figures of the Jewish Enlightenment and advocated for Jews to integrate into European society while maintaining their Jewish identity and traditions. Liberal Jews have always been against public, demonstrative reflections of Jewish symbols, but strong in being ethically Jewish, doing the right thing as citizens, as showing it to the public with pride. Showing off your Jewishness and acting as a Jew is a different thing. This way, people will know that you are a good person first, and then, if and when they learn you are Jewish, they'll respect you even more. Members of the synagogue have served in military forces, established many charities and educational institutions, and served in an uncountable number of public roles. This formula, I think, is still relevant today, but perhaps today it should sound slightly different. I am a good person because I am a good Jew. I am a good Jew because I am a good person. Shabbat Shalom. We are concluding